Hello and welcome to the UK Surf Show. We are your hosts. I'm Pete.
And I'm Mitch, and on today's episode, me and Pete chat about surfing. Both of us have been surfing. The bit that's shocking here is Pete's been surfing.
No. Before that shocking of me being surfing, that's fine. The shocking message that you sent me today about you being surfing, let's have a go on that.
Well, I wasn't surfing, I was at work.
All right.
Well, listen, I work in surfing.
Thing is,
so.
no, you just dropped yourself in it because nobody knows when we record this, so you could have just said, yeah, I was surfing.
Nah, it's absolutely fine. You know, I work at night time anyway, so I'm more than make up. But so where are we at? It's okay. It's Monday the 6th of January, right now, as we record. I've had 2 weeks off. You can imagine, you know, the build up to getting Lost Shore open was mental. There's a small party in your head. You're like, right, once we get open, everything settles down and get back to some sort of normality. Nope, it just gets worse. It gets busier because there's a lot of things to sort and fix and muddle through and whatever. So I've really looked forward to some time off. So I had 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
And I just had the intention of just going surfing, man. I just wanted to go in the van as much as I could and just surf like in the ocean, wild, old school, salty, all of that.
Wild surfing.
And as you pointed out in the last episode, very kindly of you, my surfing has definitely progressed a lot. And not that I'm any good still, I'm still rubbish, but I'm doing things I've never been able to do thanks to surfing at Lost Shore. So I want to go do that in the ocean because that's where it counts. So I've had 2 surfs during my time off. One of them was a long drive to my favourite spot in Scotland with my boy, Kyle. We had a cracking session. One of them was literally...
What was the better session? What was the better session when you was on a longboard?
Yeah, well, I'll come back to that. But
yeah.
We then surfed again on... In fact, that surf session you're on about, I did take a longboard out. I surfed again on Saturday in St Andrews. On a longboard in the first half of the session, borrowed my mate Cam's board. Super fun. We'll come back to that. And then today, so 2 weeks off, literally no surf. I've travelled for one session, then I had one in St Andrews, no surf. First day back at work, mate, it was crank bats outside. I took my van this morning, super early, to my garage to get something fixed. And I walked back along the promenade. I live on the seafront. And fuck me, was it going off. In typical Kirkcaldy style, I always say it, I think it's the topography where you stand, even at the beach in the car park, you're much higher up without realising it because the sand's been washed away so much with all the storms.
Yeah.
And I think the backdrop of Edinburgh and the hills, it just looks small. No one's ever in. So I'm like, oh, that looks really fun. Maybe knee high. So I wasn't too fussed about missing out. Came home, caught up with a load of work, and then I was like, do you know what, I'm going for a lunchtime session. Went back down, and Lloyd actually, as I was driving along the promenade, other side of where I stay, Lloyd, if you remember Lloyd from eFoil Scotland, Lloyd Christmas.
Yes.
He just happened to be pulling out the junction in front of me, so I didn't let him out, knowing that he was off to surf the same spot. I made sure, just in case there was no spaces. You know.
Did you also give him a finger as you went past him?
Well, you know, it's like, I don't know, I used to do it when I went to Saltburn. There was a point where I pulled off the motorway and it was another 20-minute drive, but from the point I pulled off the motorway onto the back roads and some dual carriageways, I saw every car as competition for the few parking spaces. You know, I wonder how many people do that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, is you doing 60 on the motorway and 120 on the back roads again?
for legal purposes, absolutely not. So anyway, get down the car park and get suited and booted, and typical, we're like, yes, maybe waist high, it's got a bit bigger. Paddle out, it's definitely overhead. I take my bigger short board, my 6'2" burger fish, and
in that mid-length.
honestly, I had it took quite a while to get on a wave. There's a bit of positioning errors, figured it out, and I had a fun ride, but then I had a right. Honestly, Pete, I had the right of my life. And it wasn't even that I'd done loads on the wave. I can't describe it. Maybe I'll go back to Lost Shore a little bit. We can go into this more in depth in a bit if you want, but you were speaking about sort of...
Nah, not really.
You were speaking about my progression, right? And it's not that I'm doing these big hacking turns and, airs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's the fact
you were. I saw you.
I'm trying to do some hacking turns and stuff like that and little snaps, right? And I think it's important to be able to, anybody that does surf on a wave pool, I think it's important to be able to separate the two, because I know I'm surfing for me really well at Lost Shore, Surf GPT, and but I also know that I won't be able to surf like that in the ocean unless, it's an absolute perfect day, punchy, clean, and the waves giving me everything. So I know I'm not going to be able to surf like that. If I can go to the ocean and surf even a quarter of what I'm doing in a wave garden at Lost Shore, then I'm going to be stoked. And it's important to be able to separate that. Otherwise, I think you'll be frustrated. So I take off on this right, and it was a big right. It was well overhead. I was comfortable on it. I take off and go into a bottom turn immediately, and the speed I took off on this wave, I honestly, it blew me away. But I was like, holy shit! Yeah. And I thought it was a closeout when I took off. And I thought I'm never going to make it round. I just sort of hung on to see what happened, and I made it round. I was like, oh shit, I've made it round. So it looked like it was going to close out again. So I came up to start a top turn, but then I just highlined it because I was like, oh, it's definitely closing out. And I didn't want to get smoked. It was big. I don't want to get smoked by it. And it's a really heavy spot here. If you've never surfed it, it's one of them you just wouldn't believe, because people don't believe you get surf here. But I'm starting to think it's one of the heaviest spots around here. It's fast, heavy, and dumpy.
Croyd heavy?
It's not Croyd. But it's definitely like a putz, maybe even heavier. But so it's not closing out. As I'm trying to come up and sort of just highline, I realize it's not closing out. So I come back off the lip again, the little snap, and I come back down with so much fucking speed. And I've been watching Senna on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it, about Ayrton Senna. And there's a thing where he talks about how he just felt like he went to a different world and was connected to the wave, and he was like it was like tunnel vision, and he just couldn't do any wrong. Well, I felt... Was he a surfer, was he? Who's connected to the wave? I felt exactly the same, right? And I was like, oh my God. And I've never surfed with so much speed. I've never hacked so hard. And like Senna, there was a point I just crashed and burned. And it all ended in tears really quickly.
Oh, no. You didn't. You fucking didn't you?
I'm a big Formula One fan. I'm allowed to say that.
I'll tell you what. I like the fact that, one, you say that Ayrton Senna said he connected to the wave, not the car, but we'll go back to we'll skip that over. But what you're describing, that moment you connect with the wave, I think that's what I've had longboarding, why I really like it, because when you get those like the one you got in Saunton, which was just fucking, you just went for miles, and you get that. But if you got that on a really clean day,
I'm still paddling back from that.
If you got that on a really clean day in Saunton, you would have ended up in Westwood Ho. But yeah, you get that feeling of you just connect with it, and it's that was the thing. I think when Leighton and I first started the podcast, that was one of the things we were trying to describe to people, that feeling of like just connecting with the wave. And it's, I don't know, without, maybe I shouldn't have eaten before we did this as well. But it's that it's like, it's more or less, it's quite a spiritual feeling, I think, without going all like, hey man, it's all like spiritual world. Like, it is quite a spiritual feeling when you get that thing, when you connect with the wave, and it is just you and the wave. Do you know what I mean?
I've never had that, so I don't know what I can compare it to. I think I had a similar but not the same feeling on Saturday when I surfed at East Sands. I went out on a log for the first half of my session, and I was hoping it would pick up a bit. It looked quite small, so I was like, you know what? Somebody mentioned it, bottom of a log. I was like, oh, why not? And I went out. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to talk about this just now. But no, I'll come back to it. So anyway, it did pick up, and I was able to go get my shortboard out, which I was buzzing about. And whilst I had some really fun waves on the log, it's still not for me, because I'm not connected the same, and I can't surf that well on a log at all. Like just that feeling of doing a turn on a shortboard for me is everything. Like if I can do one, even if I don't make it, I'm like, oh, that felt good trying. So I go out on my short board.
Do you know what? I like the fact that like when you came on board, I like the fact that like when you came on board and everything, it was like you're a short boarder, I'm a long boarder, that's it. And then recently you'd be like, I've taken a long out, and I'd be like, I've taken a shorter board out. Yeah,
That's true. Actually, we've both gone the other way for a bit.
yeah,
So I get out on the short board, and one of my last waves. I mean, fuck, I hadn't surfed like 2 weeks. Has been, we know no surf up here, and I take off on a left, and it was really busy. Well, it wasn't busy with numbers, but everybody was in the same spot, So,
do you know, just before you tell this story, can I just say, chill out, Grom.
We'll come back to that. So I take off on this left, and I'm just by chance right position. I think really sizable wave. Get to my feet, and I've said this a lot. I cannot pump for shit on my backhand, and it pisses me off so much because in my head it shouldn't be any different to my front side. It's just how I start it's probably different, and I don't know what I can visualize it in my head, and I just can't seem to do it when I'm in the water. I've not surfed enough on my backhand at Lost Shore, and that's the thing I'm going to start to make a point of doing by default. Anyway, I take off, I go left, the section doesn't close out, and I'm just in front of the pocket the whole time, and I have a minute to think, literally to be like, shit, I'm going left and this thing's peeling. I can see this is peeling for days. So it ends up being the longest left I've ever had, on any equipment, let alone surfing it. But then because I got time to think, I was like, I kind of tried to visualize it in my head to start the pump. And I started the pump and I was like, oh shit, I'm pumping on my backhand. It probably looked terrible. It's probably all arms and, like biscuit arms, fucking car sales, balloon thingy at the front. Yeah, it probably looked like that. But it got me in front of the next section. Then I was like, fuck, I'm going to try and do a turn. And I really tried just overemphasize my arms. And I went bottom to top, came back down, kept going. I was like, holy shit. And just kept doing it. And I was stoked. And actually right at the end of my wave, I've pretty much finished on the sand. Swanee was on the car park at East Sands, a little bit raised sort of platform. Just in front of me, and he's there with his phone, and he's like thumbs up, sort of Swanee, a bit like Simon Cowell gives you the thumbs up, you've done well. Yeah, it was a bit like that. And he went, and I messaged him later, and he was like, I was like, mate, did you get that? Tell me you got that on video, because I've never surfed a left like that. And he went, I don't think it was you, because you were surfing so well. So I didn't press record, and it was only at the end I realised it was you. I was like, that's it. That's both a compliment and an insult all at the same time. So both fuck you, Swanee, and thank you very much, Swanee.
That's amazing. That's such a great compliment.
That's a great compliment.
It looks like Mitch, but it cannot be Mitch because he's surfing, this guy is.
So to be fair, it's probably good that I don't get to see that wave back, because I'd rather have the memory of what I thought it looked like than when I actually see it. So yeah, going back to your point about chill out, Grom. So I'd maybe been surfing. Who did I surf with? I surfed with.
Wasn't that same session?
Same session, yeah. So that happened in the second part of the session, but when I initially got in. So in the second part of the session, I changed my shortboard, like I said, and the peak had shifted to the other side of East Sands. And it's just concentrated. Maybe there was 20 people in the water, but everybody's literally sat together. There's longboarders, shortboarders, the Unisurf clubs there. So there's just people everywhere. It's properly sporadic. No real right place to be. It was a bit peaky. And sort of paddle out. And, I've said often, St Andrews is one of the friendliest surf spots, I think, in the UK. Most talkative. People just, there's no real aggro, And actually, I don't really... It's rare that I even say something to somebody. I'm kind of happy generally to let it go as long as there's been no sort of harm and foul. And I literally go for my first wave, and it's a left, get to my feet, right? And there's people everywhere, but I've got the shoulder buzzing. I'm on my shortboard again, just having come off the log. And take off this really good left, and I look up, and there's a dude paddling, no hood on, saw light boots, that's what I remember. And he's dropping in on me down the line, so I kind of do my standard cat noise, whatever it even is. Everyone's got a noise. I've not had to do it for so long, I don't even know what it is anymore, but I swear it used to... I swear I used to sound like a fucking banshee or something, I don't know. But I do my usual cat noise, and he doesn't fucking pull off. He just keeps paddling, tries to get to his feet. So I kind of cut back, which is great. Now I know how to do cutbacks. Actually, in the moment when you know you have to cut away from like a potential crash, like I wish I could turn like that when I'm trying to do a turn. It's amazing how hard you can turn. Anyway, it's a cut back, and I'm like, it really pissed me off because it was such a good wave, but it was just so fucking ignorant. And like I say, you've been with me once. I've surfed that rocket wide 3 times. The first 2 times I took it out. Remember, the first time when I got it, we took it out in Yuki. Spanish dude dropped in on me, cracked the rail. I got it months later. I got it repaired. Took it out once again at Macrahanish. Exact same thing. Random guy just dropped in on me, cracked the other rail. So I'm like, fucking my polite approach to just trying to educate people rather than just being a fucking dick and just going nuts at people, it clearly doesn't work, and that's what I've taken away from this, what happened. So this guy drops in on me, I cut away, just narrowly avoided any contact. So I come up and I'm like, mate, just fucking look behind you. You've just dropped in on me. Just look behind you. That's all you've got to do. And he said something fucking sarky, I can't remember what it was. And I was like, no, mate, you just fucking dropped in on me. Like, I don't want to run you over with my board, right? Firstly. Secondly, I don't want to damage my fucking board. And 3, I don't want to ruin my session. I just want to surf. And he literally goes, chill out, Grom. And the guy's about my age. Chill out, fucking chill out, Grom. I was like, mate, what the fuck? Chill out, Grom. And I'm like, I'm fucking done with just being polite with people, if that's how it's got to be, because clearly that's not working. So all this time when I've been on this show and I talk about all these bell ends that just kick off rather than trying to educate people, which I like to try and do, because I thought maybe he's new to surfing. I thought maybe he doesn't know, because we've all been there. Like, oh, you got, and I think it should be taught. I've heard this a lot recently. I think it should be taught at surf schools and so on and so forth. Just look behind you when you're paddling, because this stuff's needless and it's easily avoided. You know, your 700-800 pound board gets smashed up. So I think I'm gonna have to change my approach.
Maybe that's it. Once you can do a cutback, you turn into a
maybe. But I was like, what a fucking. And anyway, well, you're gonna have to bleep that. So there you go. So
I managed not to say it, but yeah, maybe that's the club, the cutback.
The C Club, the CC Club. So I go back out, right, and I'm just watching the guy, and he's doing it to everybody. He's sat a bit further inside. He's doing it. He's just paddling on every wave for everyone. I remember speaking to Swanee when I got out of the car park, and I was like, and I've never seen the guy before. And Swanee, I spoke to Swanee. He's like, the guy's, it's the 5th person that spoke to me. 5th time I've seen him here. He turns up, doesn't speak to anyone. Which, don't get me wrong, that's fine. You don't have to speak to people, but it's a friendly spot. Like, we're all sat out chatting to each other, like whooping and hollering each other's waves and whatever. And just one miserable fucker, like I don't know. I'm sure he's not there to ruin it for everyone, but you know, such a quick way to ruin it for someone, isn't it?
Do you know what? If I can't remember the guy's name was, Freddie the Fish or whatever his face is called.
Eddie the Fish.
Eddie the Fish should have just punched his fins out.
Yeah, but I know my luck. I go to punch the fin out and I'd hit the fin square on, and I'd end up with the fin up my knuckles. I'll do your other one as well.
But, go on.
So what? Chill out, Grom.
I thought you said there's another one as well.
No, so that was that. But it was a really fun session, but that pissed me off. It pissed me off because I don't normally get that pissed off, and that pissed me off. Which is probably a reflection of, you know, people always say, well, you're not pissed off at me, you're just pissed off at whatever's happening in your life. Yeah. You prick. So that was just
turned into a show where we're just going to start calling people out for. Oh, mate, I don't know. I don't really. I've been pissed off before, like that someone's just taking all the waves and like clearly just taking advantage of it. But I very rarely get pissed off. I think I can't remember the last time I got pissed off in the water. It's just I'm always just having fun. But yeah, maybe once I could do cutbacks, maybe that would change and I'll just get aggro.
Maybe that's the key.
Yeah,
but no,
maybe that's it. Once you can actually properly surf a wave, then you start getting pissed off with people.
No, but you know, I could feel myself as well. Like as soon as he said "chill out, Grom," like it generally. I mean, I'll take the compliment. He thinks I'm young. Like I take the absolute compliment, which I find within there. But it does take a lot to piss me off. Like a lot. And
I know, I've been trying for years now.
Most people don't see it. Most people never see it. But generally when I do, but I felt myself, that rage came and I managed to just calm down a little bit and kind of try to laugh it off. But, you know, you just know, you're like, Oh, that's the one. You know you're going to be thinking about it when you go home for ages. Like, you fucking arsehole. But
And
yeah,
you're
but
still thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're still raging about it.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was a fun session, and I wanted to chat about the longboarding in that session before we chat about your surf, because on the first session, I took my mate Cam's longboard out. He just longboards normally, but he's bought a sort of mid-length 7.2, sort of same as your Evo fish, similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he's just wanted to just do bigger turns and stuff like that. And Cam surfs really well on his longboard, like, he's a really good surfer. So I was like, oh, that's gonna, and it was the first time he was taking his board out, the new board. I was like, man, that's gonna feel like skateboard wobble to you, a bit like when you took the Evo fish out at Putts, sorry. And I was like paddling out with Swanee, and Seba was out there as well, Surfskate Academy Seba, and a few other mates. And I was like, fucking game on. None of these are people taking waves off me. What's the chances here? What is the chances? Yeah. And genuinely, right, I take off on a right on this log. I think it might have even been my first wave. Take off on a right, but I don't know how far it was, maybe 30, 40 meters down the line. There's Seba, right? I'm already on my feet. There's Seba dropping in on me, right? And he surfs fast. I don't know if you ever remember that video I sent to you when I lent him my board with a GoPro on it. And it was a picture.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know
if you've still got that, just overlay it.
Yeah, if I can find it, because it's like there's a video of me surfing here in Kirkcaldy on my Firewire. The GoPro's on the board, and it's me doing a few turns, more like wiggles. And I sent it to Pete and was like, "Check me out, I'm surfing well." And then I gave Seb the board, and to see him like pumping, like the GoPro couldn't keep up with his speed. It was insane, right? So Seba, he surfs like a demon, right? He's a really good surfer anyway, but he surfs so quickly, right? And he's pumping like fuck along this right, and all I am doing is going right. I am doing nothing, and I'm catching him up. I'm catching him up, and I can see him pumping like fuck, and I'm literally on his shoulder, and I just go, Seba, get off my fucking wave. And I see him look back with such disappointment, and he kicks off the top, and then I just stack it. Then I just stacked it out of nowhere. I just stacked it, but it was so good. It was so good to be able to call somebody off a wave.
I bet you're even more chuffed that it was Seba, wasn't it, that you could call off the wave.
100%.
Because the amount of times he's probably called you off one that you'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Like, if I can learn how to make that longboard pump, oh my god.
Yeah.
You
don't need to on a longboard. That's the thing.
No, I guess
you just
not.
Don't need
Yeah,
to.
I guess you just trim
you
up
just
and
get
down.
That speed anyway. But I mean, that should be your new whistle. Just get right up beside them and just in the ear quietly, get off my wave. Just like a whisper, more or less.
I like the thing. You know the video I posted at Lost Shore, where the first ever person who dropped in at a wave garden. I wish when I surfed round him, because obviously before he let go of his board and slammed it at me, he was just trying to paddle. I wish I'd done the tap on the head, because I've seen that in videos, and I'm like, that is so fucking detrimental. That is the best. It's like, stay there, boy. I wish I'd done that.
I wish you had have, because straight after you would have got a board in your face, and it would have been even better.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, it would have been a karma post then.
Yeah.
So let's chat about Peter's surfing.
Well, I was just looking at the time, and I was going to say, what's your name, PJ?
You asked about
20 minutes in. 20 minutes in before anyone else gets a word, eh? Nah, I'm joking, man. Yeah, no, it's I went surfing. It was good. And
cool.
So your other session,
PJ's a good guy, tell us.
I went down to when was it? I said a little bit about it before, but I went down to Westwood Ho, and it was the day after Boxing Day. And as I said, I met someone down there, and she was surfing. It's a good friend of mine, and she was surfing, and she said about what board she was trying out, some different things. So I took the Evo fish as well, and I was like, well, I looked at it, I was like, I want to take the Evo out, but I kind of want a longboard as well. And I was like, fuck it, I'll take my longboard, because the last couple of times I've been on that Evo, and I was like, I had such a good fucking longboard session. I didn't even stay in the water that long because it was getting quite cold. My feet got really cold for some reason. They never get cold, but I don't know what that was about. But yeah, it was getting quite cold, and I was just like, I can't. I was just tired and whatever. But I had some really good fucking waves, and like some real like Westwood Ho long waves, because they are when you get right out of the back. But I did that thing again of getting on a wave going right, and then just being so excited. They were doing that. They always seem to do it in Westwood Ho. Like they reform as well. So they'll like break a little bit crumbly, and then they'll reform, and then they'll break a little bit, and then they'll reform again. And then before I know it, on that right, I'm at the beach, and I look back out, and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's such a bastard of a paddle out as well. So I have to paddle all the way back out again. And but it was just, there was some good rights, a couple of good lefts, and then it went a bit choppy and everything. But take away from it, it was a really good session, fun to go down. It's just fun to go down and meet up with people and stuff like that.
Defo, yeah.
Surfing with different people you haven't surfed before. And she knew loads of people from the like Westwood Ho Women's Surf Club and stuff like that. I can't actually remember what it's called. And I don't want to say the Westwood Hoes because I said it anyway, didn't I?
I didn't even see that coming.
but no, I can't remember. They're all probably going to rage at me now
great
because
name,
I've heard something about that before.
Name.
But I can't remember what it is. But it's something. But yeah, they're a load of really nice people that I met down there and chatted to and stuff. But Alex said about the Evo, it was fucking brilliant. She said it surfed like a mid-length, like a mini Mao that she's got, but it turned like really easy as well. There's loads of volume in it, so it's just an all-round, like, that's everyone I know that's surfed it so far, which is me and her so far, because you didn't want to have a go on it because you didn't want to let me go on yours because you're selfish. Has said that Tiki board's absolutely amazing, and we should say at that point as well, Tiki, sponsor of the show, sponsor of all the Devon editions and these ones that will just be Mitch and I talking as well. Yeah. They've been absolutely brilliant, and they basically paid for our Devon trip for us, sorted us out with boards. Mitch got a wetsuit, Mitch got a dry robe, or what is not a dry robe, what's it called? A change robe, sorry. You're going to do it sooner or later. Everyone calls them a dry robe. Mitch got a changing robe, Mitch got a wetsuit, Mitch got a hat, Mitch got t-shirts. Mitch has got all the Tiki stuff, so that's good for him. I know Matt will be listening to this going, fucking prick. Pete got a really nice hoodie, actually. It's really comfy. It's got big Tiki on the back and a hat and everything. And yeah, it's just brilliant. And they were just really, really kind of nice. And as we say, if you want 10% off at Tiki online, you can use the discount code
UK Surf Pod. UK
Surf Pod.
That'll get you 10% off anything but boards, because the markup, the margin on boards is just horrendously tight. But just a huge shout to TK for that. I was surfing a twin Parrot, or the Parrot Twin, and a 6. So I think it was a 6.4 actually. I've gave that the demo board back, or maybe it was a 6.2. I am ordering one.
What was it?
Twin Parrot.
What was it?
Parrot.
I was trying to get you to repeat it again. It's all right. It's just
now I see what you're doing.
That's all right.
Now I see what you're doing.
Joke.
Yeah,
you're
being a bell end, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's a joke in there. 3 times a lady. Anyway, so I've actually ordered the demo board for me to buy. Is how much I liked it. Proper dedicated 20. So I'm looking forward to that coming, so I can, one, just surf the shit out of it, but two, talk about it more. And actually, probably a bit like you're in this weird thing now, because the thing I've been doing at Lost Shore, because I'm kind of doing the same sessions and doing the same turns, so I'm kind of a bit in stalemate with myself. So before I commit to just going on my backhand as my default now, what I've been doing is just mixing up my equipment. So just going on the same settings, although the conditions change with the climate and the wind and whatever else, to see how different the boards react is actually really nice. It's quite good because I think you get it in your head, you're like, oh, it's just fins, just a board, what difference does it make? And suddenly you feel the difference between a fish and a squash tail. One seems to have drag and one's super loose, and you're like, oh shit, these do make a difference. So that's kind of what I've been doing, but I'm desperate to get that Twin Parrot and surf it in there. But you're probably in that same thing where you go look at the conditions and you're there and you've got like a quiver of boards and you're like, shit.
Well, this is what I said before. Like, when you've got too much choice, you're like, oh fuck, what do I take? And you don't know what, if you could be having a better surf on something else or blah, whatever it is. And I mean, now I've got a choice of 2 longboards, a 9.6 and a 9.4. I've got a Torque 7.6, which is a mid-length board. I need to change the fins in that though, because the fins that are in it are crap, and I think that's making a massive difference. And also it's a bastard to paddle out, that thing. And then I've got the 7.2 Evo Fish. Yeah, so, you know, if I start adding anything else in, one, I ain't going to have any room to put them anywhere, and two, it just does my head in because I don't know what to take, and I always think I'm making a mistake. When realistically, my surfing's at a level where it's pretty shit, so it's not going to make a difference what I take. You know, I'm not going to be doing anything amazing.
All the listeners contacted me, and I agree with what they all said. We all want to see you on a little 5.7, just tearing it up like a little sweet potato or something.
There's one there, mate. There's one. I don't know if you can see it. It's always right behind me. This was. Let me grab it a minute. Let me grab it because I can show anyone that's listening. This was my very first. It's still got half a thing of wax on it, but this was my very first surfboard.
Yeah, and that's great if people can't hear you though.
Yeah, so if you can't see it, I think that's a 5 something. I stand up. I'm taller than it anyway, so that's a 5 something.
How about you keep your face pointing at the microphone, because nobody's got a clue what you just said when you disappeared out of the room.
I was just running across the room and grabbing stuff. It should have been more organised, but I wasn't even thinking about it until we got onto that subject. But yeah, no, that was I tell you what, I don't know if I ever told the story. The first time I stood up on a surfboard was on that board in Sennan Cove.
Was it? When was that?
Say. And that was in 1850. No, I don't know. It was probably 1990. 3, 4,
fucking
something
hell,
like
Peter.
that.
Jesus.
Something like that. And I stood up, so like I didn't even know what the word stoked meant back then. But obviously,
you felt it.
Yeah, felt it, but I didn't know what it was. Looked up, and there was this massive guy in front of me, and I literally went into him like a harpoon, like straight. Obviously, the point of that is really pointy as well, straight into his side. You know, like 13-year-old kid. Oh, sorry. And yeah, he was all right about it. But yeah, it was. That's the first time I stood up on a board. I think Leighton stood up on that board as well. I think we were together down there on holiday for something years ago. But board sharing, yeah, it's both of us. It wasn't massive. If it was, I wouldn't be here to tell the story. And
you know what's an interesting but devastating stat? We're of a similar age, except you're a lot older than me, but I imagine a lot of our listeners are of a similar age to us.
How am I a lot older than you?
You're much older than me.
A lot, like 3. Yeah, but most people think you're older.
Most people think I'm a Grom and I should chill out. Anyway,
I'll give you that.
Those of them, they are it, whatever, that are of a similar age to us. In 5 years' time, the 80s will be 50 years ago. That's devastating.
Isn't it?
That's devastating.
Isn't it?
So,
yeah.
Anyway, I want to get that twin parrot, and I want to surf it out here a lot.
Just half our listeners out there now are just swinging from the rafters.
I know. I didn't even know how to bring that back there. That was a feeble attempt. But
yeah, I know. Oh man, that's awful.
So I had a second surf today. I went back down when I was off to pick up the van, actually, and because it was low tide this morning. When I got in, it doesn't normally work at low tide, but it's a testament to the swell when it's working at low tide here. You know it's good. So I went back hoping to get another hour before it was dark. Went back down at what did I go? Just around 4. It's starting to get dark at 4:20 now, I think here. So I was like, I could probably squeeze in an hour. And it was just Lloyd Christmas. E-foil. I was actually, while I was working.
Was he on an e-foil or was he on a surfboard?
No, he was e-foiling. Man, he was out there during Storm fucking Babette and all the storms triple overhead, just bombing about on that thing. I said to him, I was like, how are you not now competing with Kai Lenny and Nazare? You're fucking always out on that. But yeah, so I was watching him from my window. So I was sitting doing emails and replying to comments and whatever on Instagram and Facebook. And I go back to my window with a binos and look way down the far end of the beach from where I am. It's funny because from here, it almost looks like there's no wave. It's barely even white water. And then you drive down, you're like, fuck, it's massive.
That video you sent me earlier when you're narrating over the top of it, that looked bloody lovely. That was just peeling.
Mate, it was so good. I think that was the end of the first session when I got out. But I go back down and Lloyd's still out there bombing about in his E-foil and paddle out, mate. Fuck me. I was mid-tide on the way back in. It was huge. It was head and a half plus. Easy. Like the paddle out, I was like, fucking hell. I kind of just scraped out back, got out. And then I'm sort of sat there going, well, do you know what? I was going to say I was sat there going, oh, fuck, I need to catch one of these now. But actually, I was really comfortable, which was quite nice in the size. And it was weird because I don't know if it was maybe the backwash, but even the sizable waves, like the monsters that would come through, like would just close out. But the smaller bombs, there was a backwash that would create like a ramp in front. So, if you don't quite get that arc, like there's no sort of slope to get down. So I feel like I had quite a lot of that. And Lloyd was bombing about with his 360 as well. And he's like, oh, I'll try and like film you on one. I was like, oh, yes, my moment. And I was paddling so fucking hard. I was on my big shortboard, my 6'2". And like it should have been...
Big shortboard.
Well, it's big for me. It's got a lot of float in it.
No, I know what you meant, but it just sounds funny. My big shortboard.
My big short. I was on my big short stick. And like, it should have been easy to get in, and I was like, I just couldn't get onto them. And he's like coming round the front of the wave from the shoulder, from the broken wave, and he's there like the 360, and I'm like, this is going to be a great video. And I just couldn't get in, and normally I'd be like, am I just having committal issues? When you do that thing, it looks like you're paddling like fuck, but really you're paddling backwards and you're trying not to get on it. Like you want to.
I know that well.
but I was like, no, I'm trying my best to get on this, and I didn't really get any. But there was a point. There was a monster. Lloyd was sort of sat beside me on his E-foil. It's just me and him out there. It's getting dark, and this monster set comes. I mean, when I say the small big ones, they were the head and a half ones. The monsters were, I don't even know what they were. They were stupid. 3 foot. 3 foot plus. And this monster thing came, and we both literally at the same time were like, fuck. And so I start paddling out towards it. And Lloyd goes, fuck, and gets to his feet on his E-foil and literally takes off to the inside. And I'm like, well, where's he going? He's gone the wrong fucking way. And I managed to scratch under the first one. The second one's about to land on my head. And I actually made a noise like, oh. And like, it was going to break on me. It was huge. And
I bet that was not the noise you made. I bet the noise you made was more of a scream.
I don't even know. I was like, chill out, Grom. Not now. And luckily, as I was about to try and duck dive this thing, duck dive or die, them days where you learn to duck dive. You put more into duck diving than you do your surfing. As I went to duck dive, a bit of backwash came and it stopped the lip from breaking. It just kind of made that wee ramp, pushed it up, and I just scraped under it. And I was like, fuck. And I'm looking inside for Lloyd, and he's just getting obliterated. And then I see him coming back out. Actually, he was doing that a bit like, the jet skis at Nazare when they're trying to find a way out. They can't get out, so they're just sort of bombing inside. And he comes out, and then another set comes, and I'm like, he was prone on the board, and I'm like, oh, he must be turning round. And then I just see the board and him coming out like a proper duck dive. So he's obviously powered on as much as possible and just tried to duck dive it and made it through. And he was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's like, you just fucking did. It's super fun,
I suppose
man.
it makes sense, really, because because the board drops, if you let all the power off, the front of the nose digs into the water, doesn't it? So if you let all the power off on one of those E-foils, you dig the front over and whack it back on. In theory, you could get that movement.
No, but I think there's a water sensor that when it's covered, it kills the power because it thinks you've wiped out. I think. I'm sure it's been a while since we've been on them, but
he's probably fiddled with that by now. Turning that off.
No doubt, man. But he's surfing that thing super well as well.
Yeah.
It
looked good when he was surfing that. When he was surfing that storm, it looked like he was surfing really well on it then, and he was, just starting to surf those bigger waves and stuff.
I mean, the he's comfortable in the water, to be fair. So I guess I think being comfortable is probably more than 50% of the battle. Ability is just an addition after that. But it was quite. I caught one wave at the end, and really, I took off on a right. It was big, but it closed out, and then I just caught it in. I was like, you know what? The wave I had this morning, like I was so stoked. Like it's kind of, it's just what surfing's all about. Even though I didn't do much, a couple of tons, but fuck me, I felt like I was on rails. It was just like you were saying before about that sort of connected feeling. I've never had that on any waves in all the time I've surfed, and that just felt special. Like, it felt really special. So I think when the bigger sets came through, whereas normally I'd probably be like, oh fuck, and get a bit panicky, I was actually probably the first ever time in my head I was going, I want another one like that. I want another one. But
so it'll be you surfing Nazare, not me. It'll be the other way round. And I noticed ages ago your lights in the background went off, and I hadn't said anything to you because I just know it's going to irritate you when you look back at it on the video. So
no, but the one that I'm filming the episode on, there's still one on. Me and you are on a different camera to the one we were filming on, so one's off for you. But thanks for pointing that out. And I should say, Eric Davies,
what a guy, honestly. There's like, sometimes when we do the intro and outro, depends when we do them on the episodes, how much we've had to listen to or how much we've edited, first of all, how much we can remember about the guest. Like, we did try and do the thing, first of all, when we edit the episode, and then we'll talk about it again, but often it's not like practical time-wise, so we're going off memory. But there was so much in it, editing, that I remember that I didn't remember on the intro and outro. And I mean, they got like the amount of comments and messages people have just, as soon as they saw it was on, like, yes, like.
It was such a special episode, and just really cool to hang out with him and Jack as well. But I think it just made the trip for us. For me, that's just going to be a properly memorable episode. I know he watched the episode with his family last night and sent a really nice message. And then sent me a message asking me how to share it to Instagram.
And has he got a photo of all of us together?
He's got the memory.
I bet you sent him one, didn't you? Yeah. I bet you sent him one. Yeah, I bet everyone's got one apart from me.
Well, you're getting photoshopped out anyway.
Still fuming. You better play this episode. Actually, Special K listens to it anyway, doesn't she? Because she likes you, so that's
sometimes.
good.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So tell her to where's my picture, Special Karen? Where is it?
Well, let's see what comes in the post, Pete.
Yeah, definitely not getting one now.
Not after that.
Yeah.
So, any more surf on the forecast for you?
I haven't looked. I've just back to work, and it's just I got too much on for different things coming up where I've got to have time off and stuff, and I've just got too much going on, and but I'll keep an eye on it, and if I can get down an evening or weekend, not evening at the moment, but as it starts to get lighter, because now the days are starting to get lighter again. We're over the hump of the winter, so
2 minutes a day.
2 minutes every day, so that's at least one wave.
Well, it will be. Yeah.
What about Lost Shore? Anything else going on there?
Well, actually, do you know what? There's when this episode comes out, we'll kind of be halfway through the month, I imagine. But January, we're doing a month of well-being, which is pretty cool. There's like yoga stuff on. There's loads of mental health things with Dr. Jamie Marshall, the world's first surf therapy PhD, and all-round good guy. So there's loads going on. Obviously, it was back to work today, so kind of playing catch up on everything.
Back to work today, been surfing twice.
Hey, listen, that's R&D. It's R&D for surfing.
Yeah.
But
this episode comes out on the 19th. This episode.
So loads going on, mate. Loads going on. Thankfully, getting that daylight back. So, more sessions in the evening. But clearly, that light, if you recover 15 minutes a daylight, it doesn't mean you can add another session to the end of the day. Yeah. It needs to be safe, so you kind of need 40 minutes or so, or something like that.
I'm looking forward to surfing Lost Shore in the summertime when it's like 4 degrees. It'll be quite nice then.
4 degrees, did you say?
In the summertime in Scotland, honestly, it's like minus 27,000 now, isn't it, or something? It's freezing.
It's funny actually, because obviously I reply to the comments and everything else, but then through the show, through everything we do on social media, whatever else, like you hear all these people talk or leave comments, and that's what they say. Surfing in Scotland, it's going to be freezing, and the coldest I'm aware the water got to was 1.2, and we didn't have to send people home. It is because you don't stop moving. That's just what I was going to say. It's probably a good example. The first surf when I went on leave, when I went up north a bit of here. It was the first session. I've been back in the ocean since we surfed in Devon. And, your tropical...
I bet that was a shock.
Yeah, in your tropical fucking French waters. And I was freezing, like, in the ocean. But it's because you've then got that time to sit and do nothing.
Yeah.
But, when you're at Lost Shore, if you're on a lesson, if you're on a session, if you're in the bay, if you're in the reef, you don't stop. Like, you always... It's so hot. Like, I had to take my hood down. I did surf one session at Lost Shore during leave, and I had to take my hood down. I was so fucking hot.
Do you know what? Question. When you're sat there and you're waiting ages for waves, like sometimes there's a long wait between decent waves.
Where?
Like in the ocean.
In the ocean.
In the ocean. Yeah, wild surfing.
Wild surfing.
So when you're wild surfing, hands above the water or hands under the water?
Again, today my hands got a bit cold because I was sitting for ages. I will put my hands under my armpits if they're feeling a bit nippy. But I think under the water is warmer because it's the wind.
That's what I think.
I think it's the wind chill. It's a bit like, both times when I got out of the water today, it's funny. Somebody said to me, "Oh, you must be freezing out there." And I was like, I wasn't cold at all till I got out. Like, as soon as I got out, like, the wind hits you and everything else, and it's freezing. So.
It's the ones when you get out like that and you flip your hood off or something, and you're like, "Oh, why did I do that for?"
Well, it's a long walk back, and you're getting wind blasted in the ear holes.
Just wind blasted in your head. You've got a headache by the time you get back to the van. Oh, mate, yeah, no, it's good. It's good though, and we should say this: the tiki competition is on our Instagram now, so go and check that out. And there's 3 prizes, and I know exactly what they are now because I looked at the email that said it on the last episode where I could have said it, which are a hat, a vest with a hooded vest that they do, which will increase your wetsuit by another mil because you wear it on the centre, and then it's a big gun surfboard, which is one of their first... I think it's one of the first boards they had or something like that, but they've had it remade, a load of them for it. And so like the first competition is a hat, the second one is a wetsuit vest with hood, and then the third one is a board.
Which also means I now have approximately 13 days to get that live.
Yeah, no, you have less than that because it'll be on there already. So I'm going to say you've got to do it in about 7.
I don't know.
Probably a conversation we should have off of a podcast.
But no. Yeah. Let's just to show people some of the inner workings of the UK surf show. Why the fuck don't you do it? Why is it landing with me? All you do is audio.
Should I tell you why? Because when you came on board, you said, "Yeah, but I want to do video," and I said, "If you're taking the video stuff, that's fine." And you said, "Yeah, that's fine." So what is it? It's a video that they've sent us of showing what it is. So it's up to you.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna start messing with the video of you. In that case,
oh, mate, like the amount of people that send me messages, "Oh, fucking Mitch got you a good one again, didn't he?" There, like just cut to me like looking gormless or something like that. Every time you do it, either that or me eating, and that's all you cut to.
I do right. The eating ones I do on purpose, but the one on one of the teasers recently, I think it was the TK teaser, and it was you just looking gormless as fuck. That wasn't.
Do you know what
on
it was?
purpose.
It was me looking at who was it? It was Jake. Was it Jake in Tiki?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and he was talking, and it looked like I wanted to kill him. I was like just staring at him. Like
the reason I put that on, you messaged me going, "Yeah, cheers for that, you dick." But the reason I put that on there is because I'm always aware of like I guess our airtime when it's on the teasers. So I want to make sure because I just pick up these these moments that could be potential teasers while I'm doing the edit of video, and then I pull them all together and then I pick the best ones. Sometimes it's not you, sometimes it's not me, whatever, that's fine. But when there's not one of you, I'm aware that you're then not in there. So I'm like, I need to put you in somehow. Mate. And I didn't pick up on your gormless, horrendously annoying, ugly face expressions you were doing. But when you pointed it out, I realised. So I was doing it for your sake.
Mate, I don't care if I'm on there or not, to be honest. It's just it's video. You're the video guy, so it all falls on you.
We just have me in the teasers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, if you want 10% off at Surface, go use the UK Surf Show 24. That will get you 10% off at Surface.
And if you want 10% off at Cookville Clothing, Use the discount code
UK Surf Show 10. And Tiki is UK Surf Pod, all uppercase, and that will get you 10% off Tiki on everything apart from boards. We will have to sort that out, and maybe we'll put all the discount codes on the end of episodes, or just do our own little post-alone thing with discount codes, because we've got too many of them. Yeah, we've got other ones we haven't read out for ages as well. And I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Nah, what did you do for New Year?
What did I do for New Year? I definitely didn't have an open shirt on dancing in a community hall or whatever you were doing.
Hey, that was a club. That was the club.
Leighton said to I saw Leighton, and do you know what I did? I went and wallpapered Effie's room for her.
Oh,
that's
nice.
what I did. And then I went up to see Leighton and had some food, and he was like, was Mitch at a nightclub? like that age of like, a nightclub at our age?
Fuck you. Well, I told you I'm a lot younger than you two, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
You're still 40, mate. You're still 40. You're still far too old to go to a nightclub.
I was out clubbing, motherfucker. Yeah, Special K had this, like, it was like a mirror ball jacket. Like, is it like a crop top type jacket? And she was up on the dance floor, busting some moves. And I was like...
I see you. I was going to say busting some moves, but I don't think I can put those in the same sentence as what you were doing.
Mate, I do the bop. I'm a bopper. And
you
so
look like. Have you ever seen that? You ever seen that Billy Connolly one when he talks about the drunken Scotsman you see in the street, and he's always just got one leg going out to the side?
Oh yeah.
That's what you were doing.
So I was topless with a spandangly jacket on, busted out. I don't even know what was playing. Maybe I'll overlay it if I can find it on here.
Yeah.
And any Santa surfs for you?
No. I'll tell you what, that Santa barrel of Andy Haddon, and you were like, right, what you got to do? You should explain that, because it's fucking hilarious. I was laughing my head off.
Yeah. If you haven't seen our Santa surf, so I think not since I started surfing, but maybe for about 8 years, a bit longer, I have always tried to do a Santa costume surf on Boxing Day. That's my thing, and I've done it forever. Fuck you if you don't like it. But everyone does it now, right? There's nothing new about it.
Because you started it, yeah? Yeah, you started it.
Because I started it, yeah. And
you're the first surfer.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to do the generic usual that. I know that's what people do, great. I was like, it needs to be something different. So we had a conversation in the office. It was just, I think the best ideas always fall out of stupid conversations. And literally the conversation was the idea. And it was the idea being that it's Santa turning up and he's delivering presents to Lost Shore, right? And we've got these, if you've been to Lost Shore or if you've seen some of the content, we've got these little electric buses, little small things. They are actually the buses from Wimbledon. So we have them in their off-season. Lost Shore branded, and we thought that could kind of be Santa's sleigh almost. So it's Santa delivering his presents, and the present he's delivering is a wrapped up surfboard, but the surfboard is obviously a surfboard. You can see the fins are wrapped individually. The leash is wrapped as a leash. You can still put the leash on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So Santa delivers the board, and then he leaves the shop where he's placed the board under the tree. And actually, huge shout out to the Surf Ops guys at Lost Shore, because there's quite a few Christmas trees at Lost Shore in all the departments. Theirs definitely won, because theirs was decorated with kids' surf boots, gloves, and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, genius. That's absolutely genius.
Did you get them off? Cheese Toasty Man.
No, we didn't know. Off of Sam. And anyway, so Santa delivers the board and then he leaves, right? And the idea is that he leaves the building, he looks at the pool with nobody in it, barrels are pushing, and he has a pause and he looks back at the board, he looks back at the wave, looks back at the board, and then it's him scrambling, rips the board open, steals the present, paddles out, graceful as you like, takes off on a barrel, graceful as you like, pulls into the barrel, technical and graceful as you like, and then out of nowhere gets absolutely smoked, and the caption comes up, barrels aren't just for Christmas. That's it. That was it. That was the concept, right? So we turn up in the morning, super early, pre-public, and I've got So actually, we added a few layers to it because we obviously had the Santa costume. But I thought, you know what would be even cooler? I ordered a Santa morph suit. So when Santa rips open, steals the board, when he's running down, he takes off his Santa uniform, and under it, he's wearing a Santa morph suit. So that's what we went with. And so turned up, and Andy Haddon, our founder, he's done on the show before as well, was like, right, Mitch, what do you need me to do? And bearing in mind, Andy had only ever...
I love when Andy ever goes, he just comes up to you and goes, right, Mitch, what do you want me to do? And he's just like, I'm just going to fucking do it. What do I need to do?
Yeah, Mitch, just tell me. He's used to it now, right? It's funny how much we've come on from the start, actually, because it used to be much more... It was more awkward between us, I think, to get these things, but he's just so loose with me. So it's relevant to say he'd only ever even attempted the barrels the week before. Never been barreled in his life. And he went and tried the barrels a week before. There's a few photos of him getting barreled, but I've never seen the video, so I'm not convinced he made it out. So he's like, what do you need me to do? Andy, all I need you to do is get in that barrel and then get fucking smoked. You need to get obliterated. It needs to look bad. He's like, I can do that. I was like, just try and come out, because you probably won't come out if you do it that way. Just get smoked by the barrel, right? So... And this is obviously the first wave of the day, so it's the cleanest, classiest, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he's still got the Santa hat on because he's not been smoked yet. Once you wipe out, that's it, that stuff. The beard, the hat, it's all gone.
Yeah.
So he takes off in the barrel. And he shouts over, actually, before he takes off. He goes, what setting are we on? And I think I've told you before, we have... Well, there's 5 barrels and 4 is the beast mode. I'm told there's one above that as a 5. But 4 is the beast mode, so it's B1, B2, B3, B4. He goes, what barrel is this? B2 is the normal one. So we shout back, it's B2, Andy. He's like, cool, I've done B2. It's fucking beast mode, mate. We pushed the beast mode, right? And the first one's ridiculous. It is the cleanest thing you've ever seen. It was just ridiculous. So it takes off. It's like a sort of stumbly takeoff, like perfect. Gets in this tube. Like, you're like, fuck, this could be the tube of a life, you know? And then he's in there like, oh, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. And then he comes out of the barrel, like stoked off his nut. And I'm like, but like elated for him, but also like, Andy, what are you doing, man? You're one job, do not come out of that barrel. And he comes clean out of the barrel and tries to let it kick off as if that's what we were after. I'm like, Andy, he's lost the hat, the beard's off, everything else. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, I think we've just unlocked a teaching key. Like, for somebody to get, that's how you come out. Tell them to not come out. And then, we went and done another one and he got absolutely smoked and it worked out really well.
It's like when you go to take your car to the garage, isn't it? Oh, it's making this not, it's not doing it.
There's actually, I'm going to overlay it actually. There's a really funny screenshot because on the second one, he's like, right, I'll go wipe out in the barrel. So in the second one, it's the same thing, it's beast mode again, right? He's obviously got a bald head. He's now got no hat on. And it's freezing as well, by the way. It's so cold.
Yeah.
So he's got no hood either because he needs to wear the Santa hat. And he's like, right, do you know what? So he takes off. He's in the barrel. And he's like, I'll just stick my head clean into the barrel and that'll wipe me out, right? And I swear to God, I'm going to have to overlay like the screenshot. His head, his shiny head, hits this clean as you like wall on the left on this barrel. And have you ever seen a jet fighter or a jet plane when it goes sonic boom? And it has like I don't know what you call it, like the mist sort of thing round.
It's like the halo, isn't it?
Like a halo, that's exactly. It's like a halo of like mist. The exact same thing happens from his head, and he still doesn't wipe out. He just makes it out. I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? But mate, honestly, it was so much fun, and that's what for me. That's what it's supposed to be about. And I can already see next year, you know, Santa again. It's not just Santa surfing, but Santa's hooked sort of thing, and it's him at the desk in disguise or something. I don't know, paying for his session.
Next year, it's going to be right. We're going to do it again, and it'll be like. Push the B5, push the B5.
But mate, it was so much fun. And man, that thing, honestly, the engagement on that post as well was like, I was like, fuck, have we run a competition or something? It was just, it went down really well. But yeah, just a lot of fun, what it's supposed to be about. But that was that.
That's it. So yeah, well, I think that's it. We've rambled on for about an hour, and I mean, that'll do.
I think that's it.
Yeah. You see Mitch, go and say hi. There's games going around now, apparently, about spotting Mitch at Lost Shore and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that is.
And, yeah. So, yeah, that's it. So, Yeah, nothing else to say? No? Right, well, see you later.